This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio.
The Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada now brings you Filipinars, news and features about the Filipino-American nursing community and beyond. And now, here's your host, Doris Power.
Good evening, PHLV Radio listeners. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to the start of the new season of Filipinars. Today is moving day because we are now on the air every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Filipinars is still brought to you by PNANV, or the Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada, in collaboration, of course, with PHLV Radio. And we are still bringing you discussions of different healthcare issues and topics here in our community and beyond. So thank you for joining us tonight. Well, as you know, the past year has really been difficult. The coronavirus disease 2019, or otherwise known as COVID, has disrupted nearly every aspect of everyday life and placing unprecedented demands on our society. There has been an increase in stress, in anxiety, burnout, and mental health problems as an aftermath of this pandemic. Although a rise in distress has been seen among the general population, healthcare professionals seem to be the more vulnerable. And this is not a surprise, given that the key role of the healthcare workers is taking care of patients, managing the patients in this pandemic. So it has been widely recognized that healthcare professionals are in particular need of support to help mitigate the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on their current and also in their future well-being. So the workplace administrators, professional organizations, and many more entities have actually provided healthcare workers an access to an array of resources such as helplines, online therapy and group counseling sessions, and access to online tools to help manage the symptoms of anxiety and stress. And one such program is called MindBodyStrong. And here to explain to us about what this program is all about are two ladies named Elizabeth. Dr. Elizabeth Fildes and Elizabeth de Leon-Gamboa. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, of course. Okay, so, well, you both are not strangers to Filipinars and to our community. First of all, let's talk about Dr. Elizabeth Fildes. She has an array of alphabets behind her name, but she's first an RN and she is a doctor of education, right, Dr. Fildes?
Yeah.
Dr. Fildes is a professor at Chamberlain University.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, I've been busy with the work of the American Academy of Nursing, which I have the privilege to be inducted to in 2019, doing some work to increase the presence of lower income and middle countries nurse leaders.
Fantastic. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Well, that's another topic for another time, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And of course, Ms. Elizabeth de Leon-Gamboa. She's an MSN in education and also a registered nurse. And she is the current president of the Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada. Welcome, Lisa. We call her Lisa.
Lisa, yes. I only get called Elizabeth when I'm in trouble.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay. So, what have you guys been up to? Dr. Fildes, what about in the, in the university aspect? You guys doing anything now? We're back to school. I know it's been online.
So I have always taught online since 2014. The master's program of Chamberlain University have always been online. I teach in the health policy track. So I have about 100 students in that track, and students are busy with quality improvement projects that impact the population that they serve. Quality improvement projects, whether that be in the hospital or in the community, sometimes in schools, and they're also working with local legislators to push population health agenda.
Population health. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. And Lisa, I know PNANV has been really busy, right?
Yes. PNANV has been very busy last year, and we're keeping that momentum right now. We just finished our virtual seminar, our second one, and it's entitled Healthcare Worker, the Aftermath of COVID. So there we discussed about resiliency, we discussed about global nursing, as well as, what was the other one? There were 3 topics that we've had.
Stop the bleed.
And we had, of course, Stop the Bleed, because that is so relevant, having that issue sometime October 1st shooting. And so we want to make sure that our public and, of course, our nurses are equipped. Whenever there are emergency situations like that.
Yes.
So that was just recent. That was actually last week that we had it. And now we're continuing to advocate for vaccinations, the COVID vaccinations. So we have volunteered at the UNLV clinic, as well as continuing with the ACDC vaccination program. And then, of course, we do collaborate with various organizations for their food pantries, and then other opportunities for outreach. So
busy.
And then, of course, now this is exciting. We have another project whereby now we're going to take care of our own. Our own.
Right.
Yes.
And this is a good segue to the MindBodyStrong program that we're going to talk about today. So, Lisa, as president of the PNANV, what has been your experience, or maybe the experience of your members, in relation to mental and physical health of healthcare workers as an aftermath of COVID?
Well, first and foremost, right now, even though I'm not in the front lines anymore, a lot of our members are. And for one, my husband is a frontliner. So from the physical effects of it, he comes home really exhausted, just donning on and off of the PPE whenever he was floated to the COVID floor, or if they had a COVID patient in their unit, and then he quarantines himself, for 3-4 days because of fear of contracting the disease and giving it to us as his family. And then, of course, just really the exhaustion, physical exhaustion. They have so many patients. There was a time that a lot of our hospitals were inundated with patients. Everybody was getting vented, all these admissions to the hospitals. So that was the physical side. Now, from the emotional and mental side, it's that fear of, do I have COVID? And I don't want to give it to my family. And so that was really heavy. Plus, when they have patients that are near death, and they have no one. I mean, guess who takes that burden? It's the nurse caring for that patient.
Right.
Because, they would usually hold the phone and then have them talk to a patient that's vented. The patient can't talk. So it's that middle person that gets all the depression, the anxiety, and the stress of it because they're in that situation that they can't help.
Yes. So this is really, it has taken a toll to the healthcare workers, and thank you for the organizations that actually put up programs in order to help the healthcare workers. So, and speaking of that, one of these programs is the MindBodyStrong program. So, Dr. Fildes, can you tell us what the MindBodyStrong program is all about?
So, Doris, just a background and as a follow-up to what Lisa said, what triggered me to look for a program like MindBodyStrong was that this, for nurses, young nurses, older nurses would say, "Oh, my classmate committed suicide, or there's suicide in this hospital, and I know a person who did that. She just graduated." So it's clear that our nurses are under a lot of stress to a point where they're anxious, they're depressed, and to a point where they would commit suicide. So I, with a group of people who are in search for what can we proactively do for the nurses to help us take care of ourselves. And one of the, as we are going through this program now, it seems that we're not ready to admit that we are at a point of we want to isolate, or we have signs of depression, or we have signs of anxiety and all that stuff. So it has been a challenge to enroll nurses into this program. And, my background is in addictions, of course. And, I thought, could it be that nurses still see this as stigmatizing or asking for help? But just like the slide that I shared with you and Dr. Milnick shared with us, we need to take care of ourselves because we can't continue to give from an empty cup.
Correct.
Right? Yes, we need to take care of ourselves. And so, lo and behold, we search, and the Nevada Action Coalition and a group of us wrote a grant, and lo and behold, we got it from the Governor's Office of Innovation. And so they gave us money to train 25 facilitators to do MindBodyStrong. We chose MindBodyStrong as a one of our interventions. We know that it needs more than just a program to help nurses. We need hospitals to help us create environments that foster the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health of nurses so that they could take care of patients. So we found MindBodyStrong from the Ohio State University. It's based on the work of Dr. Milnick, and studies have shown, over 29 studies have shown that it has increased the resiliency of nurses.
Very
and
good,
so we wanted to make sure that we bring an evidence-based program to our nurses. And lo and behold, we now have it available statewide, and we have 25 facilitators trained to do this work.
That's awesome. Yeah, so this is a collaboration basically of like three entities: the Governor's Office of Owen. What does that stand for?
Office of Innovation.
Innovation.
Right.
And then, of course, the Nevada Action Coalition.
Nevada Action Coalition, and
we're a part of. Right. And what about CSN?
And CSN is the pass-through organization. But,
CSN being the College of Southern Nevada.
Right. So. And the Nevada Action Coalition is doing all the work to meet the goals of the grant.
Yeah, that's really very good. So what does the training entail? You have facilitators, and I think you have 7 session topics, or if you can explain that.
So Dr. Milnick's work is based on a manualized cognitive behavior therapy. Okay, so she chose to make it manualized so that you and I, nurses who don't have the counseling credentials, can deliver this. Okay, so it's manualized in that it consists of 7 sessions. Basically, that tells nurses to be very cognizant about your thoughts because your thoughts influence your feelings and then your behavior.
Your actions, right?
Okay, so the 7 sessions teach nurses to be cognizant and be aware of negative thinking, of cognitive distortions that can cause stress and anxiety and stress and burnout on them. So the exercises, I'm facilitating it with students right now, and their biggest stress is their NCLEX prep, right? Passing their NCLEX prep. And I am amazed at just the 3rd session learning how to deflect or shift from a negative thinking to a positive thinking based on the repetitive statements that we taught them to develop themselves. Basically, they're taught to, and I start depositing positive statements into their mindset so that it, when it's time to withdraw from a negative stimulus, they have a lot of positive cushion in their mind.
Right. Yeah.
Putting positive thoughts, conditioning them to think positively.
Exactly.
So, I was going to say, feel free to interject. Lisa.
Yeah, it's so exciting because just those simple steps, of repetitive, positive thoughts, it changes your aura. It changes your mindset.
Right.
It is so true.
And you're one of the facilitators.
Yes, and I've been practicing on myself.
We all need it, right? We all need it. And I share with my students. I thought, okay, you think as a professor I would have it. I would know how to do it. But guess what? I realized I have so many mental distortions. So the awareness is so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we tend as nurses to forget about ourselves, put the other people ahead of everybody. But like you said, you can't do it, you can't give from an empty cup. And just like it's one of my old sayings, you can't give what you don't have.
Yes.
Exactly.
So this is great. So it's 7 1-hour sessions, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so does one have to attend all sessions?
We would want
Yes.
them to be because it's so beneficial, right? And we have a cohort. And guess what? They become a built-in support for each
group.
other.
Yes.
It's so beautiful
right.
to watch the students take the. Somebody was saying, if I pass the test, and one of her colleagues said, when we pass this test.
That's the application already.
Isn't that wonderful? And how beautiful that they lifted each other up, right? And how it just.
So there
Right,
is
right.
a specific goal for each participant. It's kind of like a personal goal, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they develop their own personal statements.
Right.
So Dr. Bernick decided so that we have 10 positive statements. We repeat. No, we have 2 positive statements that we repeat 10 times in the morning and 10 times before bed. Over and over and over again.
Yes.
So the change takes place not in the classes, but in the self-care work that we are asking nurses to do.
And just to point out, Doris, earlier you've asked if the participants have to take the classes, all the classes.
Yeah.
Of course, we do encourage that
Right.
because each class or each session has a specialized, specific knowledge base and attitude that you're wanting to really impart to the participant. And it's like building blocks. You start from the first, okay, these are the positive statements. Well, the next time, I'm doing this assessment. What can I do for myself? What's something positive that I can change? So they're building blocks. So we do want, the attendance of all these 7 sessions.
Good point, Lisa.
And this is really good. And we were talking earlier. You have some statistics about the increase of stress in healthcare workers.
I'm going to share this with you. It says here the data from Miller, 2007. It's pretty dated. 24% of ICU nurses tested positive for PTSD.
Yes.
And 23 to 31% have a prevalence of emotional exhaustion among primary care nurses. And get this, 400 physicians commit suicide each year, a rate more than 2 times the general population.
Wow.
Okay, physician rates of depression remain alarmingly high at 39%. That's why it caught the attention of the National Academy of Medicine. And so, yes, we really need to take care of our own. So, Doris, you talked about burnout. I'd like the audience.
We're going to talk about burnout in a minute.
Okay, sorry.
But no, that's okay. But I was going to ask Lisa, so how is the PNANV helping out with this project? Because I know you've gotten to that.
Yes. It's really an honor, and I'm so excited that NAC, Dr. Fildes, reached out to the Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada, and when I saw that, look, this is our chance to take care of our own, and a lot of our nurses, are still working in the front lines. We do need to equip them with the tools, to take care of themselves. So then that's how I signed up, to become an instructor. And then now I'm offering it to our general membership and the board of directors.
Right.
So yes, it's really exciting. And, this is our first time to launch it. So one is starting tomorrow and then another class on Saturday. But then, of course, we will be offering it more because I'm sure once the nurses hear about it and it's less stigmatized, asking for help, then I could just see a brighter future for them enrolling in these classes. So, yes.
That's very good. That's very good. So, I'm kind of looking forward to it because like other people, I'm like, I need to do something. And I wasn't in the front lines, but it still affected me a whole, I don't know. I cannot even explain, hearing day after day, somebody died, somebody a relation of yours. And it's just, I think it really got to me. It got to me. So, let's talk about clinical burnout.
Okay.
So, and I think that has affected a lot of our healthcare workers. How do you define burnout?
So it is a feeling where you say, I'm done. I've had it. I'm done. It's I believe, an emotional exhaustion of, no, I can't do this anymore. So the good news is Dr. Milnick developed a self-assessment that we use in the MindBodyStrong program. And so at the beginning of the program, we ask them to do a self-assessment. And this tool is going to be made available through this.
Yes, we will be flashing this tool on screen.
Good.
And because there are several levels of burnout, I went through it myself, and I'm like, I think I'm in level 5.
Yeah, exactly.
But so can you, go ahead and talk about the different levels.
This is, just wonderful. On the study on the MindBodyStrong program, what Dr. Milnick has found is that at session 5, there are changes in people's self-assessment. And that's really exciting. I mean, I did session 3 today with students, and it's remarkable. It is remarkable. And it's so wonderful to hear them say, yeah, okay, I may be level 2 and 3, and we say, okay, so tell me what you can do now that you know that you are at this level, right?
So let's do a challenge to our listeners and our viewers. We'll flash this on screen. Be aware of your own level of burnout. So you have levels 1 to 5. So take a little brief moment and make this assessment and see where you are. Level 1 is I enjoy my work. I have no symptoms of burnout. And then I'll skip to level 3, which says I'm definitely burning out and have one or more symptoms of burnout, such as physical and emotional exhaustion. And then level 5 is I feel completely burned out and often wonder if I can go on. And I am at the point where I may need some changes in my work or may need some help. So, listeners, viewers, where are you at? Okay, so, and this is one of the topics that is going to be discussed on the MindBodyStrong program. Okay, you have anything to add to that?
Well, just to add on the levels of burnout, right? We all have different stages. We all have different levels of burnout. But when you go to level 5, I can just picture the bunny, the ad. I'm not going to say the name of the battery, but you just keep going and going and going until you're like, okay, that's it.
I'm
done.
dead. The battery's done.
The battery's dead. You don't
Yeah.
want to come to that point of level 5, and then you have nothing more to give.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
It's time to take care of yourself.
Right. And the most important thing is to prevent yourself from getting to that point. That's why self-care, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self-care is so important for nurses. I mean, most especially the frontliners, right? Holding someone's hand day in and day out, short-staffed day in and day out. It's just physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Self-care is very important for nurses, right? We need to heal ourselves.
Yes.
So if you are feeling some signs of burnout, what would you suggest the healthcare workers do?
Well, for myself, what I would normally do, I would just say, okay, that's it. No computers, no nothing. And then I would put on some praise music, or I treat myself with cartoons. I get back into my, life as a kid, and I just enjoy, and that's my 1 or 2 hours time,
Yeah,
and
you're
take
right.
care of myself.
I tried to do
Dissociate
that this
from
weekend.
stress.
I binged on Netflix and completed. It wasn't it was. I binged on, this is funny, Marco Polo.
It's a treat for yourself.
I didn't know that his whole story, so that was kind of a treat for me. So I said, I'm not answering the phone. I'm not doing anything else. But so that helped me. That helped me. It got me somewhere else.
Beautiful.
So besides listening.
Beautiful.
So, and then it is also important, like you said, to realize that when you're stressed, there is a need for the healthcare workers to assess themselves and actually know the importance of self-care, correct?
Absolutely.
So,
And practice.
Know and
practice.
no,
I have I want to share how beautiful it is to speak with someone who's trained to do that kind of work. I chose a spiritual counselor for my issues. So to just catharsis to somebody else who knows how to direct you, it's just healing.
Right.
And it's so therapeutic. And I think not a lot of nurses take advantage of that. We have wonderful counselors who are trained to help you process what you're going through, and what a beautiful feeling that is. Dr. Milnick recommended MindBodyStrong, so come and join Lisa and I in this program. So we're going to make sure that it's available through the Nevada Action Coalition to the PNA&V. So you will hear about it. And then, believe it or not, a quick strategy is deep breathing exercises. As you know, we're so busy, we forget to deep breathe. But deep breathing actually stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, so it slows you down. And she said over and over again, we encourage our participants to do that, because in just 5 sets of deep breathing, inhale for 4 seconds, keep it for 7, exhale for 8. 5 sets will stimulate your parasympathetic and your relaxation response. And they teach it in cardiac rehab. They do teach it in cardiac rehab. So the other practices that Dr. Meldick is recommending is practicing gratitude, right? So practicing gratitude.
Being mindful, maybe?
Right. Mindfulness is very important. And for me, one of my very, very important coping mechanism is prayer and meditation. So, find out what nourishes your soul and do it at regular intervals. I would recommend first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning is you need to do something good for you. So it sets the tone of the day.
Yeah, that's very good, very good. So how do you sign up for this MindBodyStrong classes or training?
Well, for the Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada, I have sent out to the general membership, and they can email me directly, e.deleon-Gamboa at pnanv.com. So we can flash it as well, so they can email me.
Very good. And the Nevada Action Coalition's website will have MindBodyStrong classes.
Okay, very good, very good. So those are 2 venues, where you can sign up for these classes, and I think this is really important for everyone. So let's disseminate the word out there, and it will be, I think this is really good, because speaking from personal experience, I didn't think anything was wrong with me, and I don't want to go seek some help or maybe look for some classes, but it comes to the point wherein I made a realization that says, I got to do something, because this is getting to me. And I'm sure it's getting to everybody with all of the things that are going on out there as an aftermath of the COVID.
So, Doris, I want to just say, one of my heroes said, Dr. Brian Luke Seward said, our bodies become the battlefields of the wars of our mind. So if we're always at war over here, it will manifest in a heart attack, it will manifest in a high blood pressure, right? So very important to take care of this, because it impacts our bodies. Right? So if you're managing a chronic disease, it's so important to take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
just to tag along on that, on the spiritual health, PNANB prides itself for not only taking care of the physical aspect, but also the cognitive. And we do have a prayer group as well that we have started when we had the COVID pandemic. And it's still ongoing right now. And we do pray for those that have been afflicted with COVID, families for strength. And that really helped us, cope with all the stress that we faced the last year and even now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Very good. Very good. So, what is your message to the healthcare workers and the public about keeping a strong mind and body in the aftermath of COVID? Let's go you first.
I think it's very important to keep in mind and always remember that health is not just our physical being. That Brian Luke Seward said, health is a word that comes from hal, meaning whole, right? Whole, and we have holistic, terms lately. That's just been there. So remember that physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health are important, and they all to be balance. When I ran the tobacco users helpline, we said it's like four wheels in a car, right? If one car if one wheel is not working, then you're kind of off balance. So it's very important to prioritize physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, and self-care is so important. Self-care is not selfish, right? Yeah. It's very important to remember that, especially us being so, we want to take care of others. Right, but it's so important to take care of yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. And just like the instructions in the airplane, right? Put your oxygen first on before you help others. Right. So very important.
Very important. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Files. And Lisa?
Yeah, for me, I would just want to emphasize that health, is the whole being, mind, body, and soul. And of course, that has to start from within. You take care of yourself first, then you can have something to give.
Exactly. Well, ladies, I would like to thank you very much for coming to our program today for this new season of Philippine NARS. We certainly learned a lot from the both of you on this program. And so, for those of you out there, sign up for the MindBodyStrong program. And you can do this by emailing Lisa at egamboa at
Leon-Gamboa.
Let's not forget the
PNANB. At
gmail.com. Or go to the Nevada Action Coalition website, and it will give you the segue to signing up for this wonderful project.
Thank you so much for this program, and thank you for hosting Lisa and I today. Thank you.
Yes, what a pleasure to have you, ladies. So thank you again. And to our listeners and viewers, many of the long-term effects of the worldwide pandemic known as COVID still remains unknown. Burnout, stress, and the emotional burden of caring for sick patients were really affecting the healthcare workers even before the COVID-19 pandemic. It is now more pronounced than ever. It is extremely important to support the well-being of the healthcare workers during and after COVID. And in order to continue to provide uninterrupted quality care, the healthcare workers, the workforce, must be empowered to be encouraged to take care of themselves. And attending training programs like the MindBodyStrong program can help you achieve that goal. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you for giving us the privilege of your time. This is Doris Bauer, your Philippine Nurse host, signing off for now.
The Philippine Nurses Association of Nevada has just brought you Philippine Nars, news and features about the Filipino-American nursing community and beyond on PHLV Radio.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.